Then you are to add 3 more cities to yourselves besides these three, so that innocent blood will not be shed in the land Yehovah your God is giving you as an inheritance, and thus the blood guilt be on you. So he's really making a way, because if the person's innocent and then they get killed by the avenger, then it's a double whammy. The accident was spilled blood, and then the person's death wasn't just. It's a double whammy. It's like that. That's not what I see as a society where there's no murder. I see a God that doesn't like murder. And this is what he constitutes as murder. Very different than acts of war and going to war. You know, we're not supposed to hate people in our hearts and murder. Like, that's no. Oh, no. However, if someone hates his fellow member of the community, lies in wait for him, attacks him, strikes him a death blow, and then flees into one of these cities, then the leaders of his own town are to send and bring him back from there and hand him over to the next of kin avenger to be put to death. You are not to pity him. Rather, you must put an end to the shedding of innocent blood in Israel. These things will go well with you. Then things will go well with you. If you are not to move your neighbor's boundary marker from the place where people put it long ago, and the inheritance soon to be yours in the land Yehovah your God is giving you to possess. One witness alone will not be sufficient to convict a person of any offense of sin of any kind. So understand that, again, in the context of judging, in the context of judges, one witness is never good. If you ever notice around here, something goes wrong, I get everybody's story. Listen to everyone's story before we make a decision. But understand also that you have the sun, the moon, the rocks, the trees, the skies, animals. These things are watching. And they will be the witnesses that will convict. It is not sufficient to convict a person of any offense or sin of any kind with only one witness. And we know in the Torah, because it tells that the sun and moon stand as witnesses against us. The matter will be established only if there are 2 or 3 witnesses to testify against him. The Torah stands because the sun and the moon stand. They are the standing witnesses. So all you have to do is just look up during the day. You see the sun? That means that the Torah, the commandments, the law, the judgments, all of it stands as a witness. So do you either live a life that testifies for it or against it? You look up at night, guess what? You got the moon. As a reminder, the covenant still stands. There's no such thing as an Old Testament. If a malicious witness comes forward and gives false testimony against someone, then both the men involved in the controversy will stand before Yehovah, both the Kohanim and the judges in the office at the time. The judges are to investigate carefully. That's that diligently seek. If they find the witness is lying and has given false testimony against his brother, you are to do to him what he intended to do to his brother. This is that law. Do unto him, right? So do whatever you intend to do to someone is what will be intended to do to you. So this is, and I explain this constantly here, the very first attribute that Yehovah says or describes himself, or he describes who he is jealousy, right? He says, my name is jealousy, right? But the very first thing after that he says is what? Mercy. So I always try to lead with that one. Those who remain will hear about it, be afraid, and no longer commit such wickedness among you. Show no pity. Life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. When judging, there's no pity. If a person takes a foot or an eye, you take a foot or an eye. It's not personal. It's calling balls and strikes.